What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another Nintendo Switch and RPG news video. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it with Yokai Watch. Now, we all thought that this franchise was dead from Level 5, but with the recent Nintendo Direct, Level 5 made a massive comeback to the scene and also to the Western territories, announcing a bunch of cool games like a brand new Professor Layton. Also, we've got a new IP called Deca Police, plus a new Fantasy Life as well, so things are very exciting. But there was one franchise that kind of put Level 5 on the map in the new generation of games that essentially was a one and done, the Nintendo 3DS and out after that, and that is Yokai Watch. Now, we all thought that this franchise was dead after the anemic sales of Yokai Watch 4 in Japan, but it doesn't seem to be the case, and it looks like Level 5 is going to be resurrecting this IP with something brand new in the coming months or years. Now, according to Level 5 CEO Akihiro Hino, he had this to say via Twitter, and it might not be 100% good translation because I am using Google Translate via Twitter, but here's what the translation has to say about Yokai Watch coming back. I'm going to take a break from the TV Yokai Watch, but I'm thinking about the next amazing thing that follows the flow of Yokai Watch. So if you like yokai, please wait a moment. So it looks like the TV show isn't going to get a new season sometime soon, or there's something that's stopping there, but it looks like they're bringing something up for Yokai Watch coming up here. And what they like to do is they usually like to have a game and then like the TV, then like the different type of toys and all sorts of stuff there. So what I'm guessing is that there's going to be a localization of Yokai Watch 4 plus or whatever, the best version of Yokai Watch, or a new Yokai Watch game that's going to try to focus on making sure that it's a worldwide type of thing, or that it does end up being bigger than what they want it to be, or just basically launch it in a different type of way. I know that Level 5 loves the Yokai Watch brand. That's really what made them a ton of money in the modern era for games. They used to make RPGs like Dark Cloud and Ni no Kuni, and those were great and all, and those did well, but nothing really put them on the map more than Yokai Watch. But once again, it was a one and done. It was 3DS, and it did really good on that system between Yokai Watch 1, 2, and 3, yet it was dipping between each game, but it still did really well. And then once it went to the Nintendo Switch, it essentially flopped because they completely changed the format and formula, going from a turn-based quirky RPG to a action RPG with much less yokai. So I think that there was just a turning point right then and there. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how they resurrect the yokai, whether it be on the TV shows and then also with the games, or bringing over some of the previous games, localizing those. But to me, I think that what they would need to do, or at least what I think they need to do, is this. They need to localize Yokai Watch 4, all of those different pluses. The best version of Yokai Watch 4, localize that here in the US. It's on the Nintendo Switch. It's also on the PlayStation 4. But if they want to focus in and hone in on making sure that they can get pretty much the market, I definitely think that a Nintendo Switch localization needs to happen. Get that done, because Yokai Watch 4 is a really good game, and then roll that into whatever you're going to do next for Yokai Watch. Now, action RPGs are fantastic, but I think they need to go back to what made Yokai Watch amazing in terms of the sales for people out there. So they need to go back to what Yokai Watch 2 was. That game sold incredibly well on the Nintendo 3DS in Japan. So take what Yokai Watch 2 was, make the graphics better, make your innovations, do what you need to do, but make it the gameplay style in that. And I think that a lot of those fans can come back with the Nintendo Switch and whatever Nintendo's doing next as well. But we're gonna move on from one awesome JRPG franchise to another one, and that is Baten Kaitos. Yes, the HD remaster. We've got some new details that weren't talked about beforehand because we were all focused on some of the other things with the resolution and the specs of the game, but there's now more quality of life stuff that is coming about with Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster that's going to make this game a lot more exciting than the recent remaster from Bandai Namco, and that is Tales of Symphonia Remastered. So here are some new features you can expect in the game. 6 different adjustable parameters. Adjust parameters including game speed and random enemy encounters and save them as your favorite way to play the game. This is adjustable at any time. The adjustable parameters are as follows: no encounters, turn off random enemy encounters; instant KO, enable enemies to be defeated with a single strike. Goodness gracious, do they need to do that? Game speed, choose from 3 options: 100%, 200%, and 300%. Battle speed, choose from 3 options: 100%, 200%, 300%. Simple battle results display, switch to a simpler display of mid-battle results after each turn. And then auto battle, enable battles to be played automatically. You also have an autosave feature, which people were asking for Metroid Prime Remastered. A help feature, check the meanings of key terms and how to play the game from within the system menu. New Game Plus mode, always love me some New Game Plus. So in this mode, it allows you to restart the game after clearing it once, carrying across level, rank, and Magnus from the initial run. Awesome stuff. Love New Game Plus. I think New Game Plus is one of the greatest features ever made in gaming. Then you also have New Game Mode. This mode applies restrictions on what is available for a much more difficult challenge. Oh, so definitely in there for the challenge and difficult gamers out there. This remaster with Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster is looking like it's incredible, because you combine that with the other stuff they talked about when it comes to what they're doing with the graphics in the game and cleaning it up and everything, and this is turning out to be one of the better remasters that Bandai Namco has done, and absolutely a welcomed thing over some of the remasters we've been getting. It always seems like it's hit or miss with some of these remasters. Chrono Cross came out last year. It was kind of a miss. Then they took a while, but they patched that. We had Tales of Symphonia come out recently as a remaster. That needs to be patched up. But it seems like this one's going to be pretty good from the start from what we've seen here. But we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. But I'm very excited for new gamers and, of course, the classic old heads out there to get their hands on Baten Kaitos, because this is one of the best card-based RPGs that I've ever played, and I'll be honest, it's my favorite card-based RPG that I've ever played, and it's from the legendary developers of Monolith Soft before Nintendo purchased them and they made the classic that is Xenoblade Chronicles. So I'm very excited for Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster. These editions are really good. Even if you suck at card-based games or RPGs, you can play and enjoy this with the different types of quality of life options that they've put in the game here. So this is always what you want to see from these remasters or from these classic games being brought back. And I think that this game is coming at a perfect time. It's going to be summer. It's going to be after Tears of the Kingdom, which is great. It's not near it. It's number of months afterwards. So this is a good thing so far, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Bandai Namco, Nintendo, and Monolith Soft on this here. But speaking of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we've got some information on how big of a blockbuster this game is going to be. Now, we all know this game's going to sell crazy amounts of units. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has sold over 30 million units worldwide. So we all know that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be a Goliath in the industry here. But how much of a Goliath it's going to be? Well, we have a little bit of an indication here. I did cover the US sales and how it's #1 on Amazon when it comes to best sellers of 2023 so far this year, just based off of pre-orders. But now we have some more information on the Japanese sales and what's going down there. So shout outs to my man Pierre 485, who compiles the Japanese COMG retailer charts. Now, this isn't the full picture because obviously you don't get the pre-orders on the digital eShop and all that in every single store, but it gives us a very good idea of what the trend is for some of these games. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is already at half in terms of pre-orders compared to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So it is expected that Tears of the Kingdom is going to have the biggest launch in franchise history. So this beats out Ocarina of Time, this beats out A Link to the Past, this beats out Wind Waker, this beats out so many of the other best-selling games. I guess Wind Waker isn't the best-selling game, but Twilight Princess, yeah, we should say that. Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time. Those were like the two biggest selling Zelda games before The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and this is looking like it's going to shatter both of those, which makes sense. Now, you have to remember the reason why The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild didn't have a bigger opening than some of these other games is because it was a launch title and not as many people have the system. So of course it's not going to be as big of a launch, but obviously it went on to sell way more than all the other Zelda games in the franchise. So to me, I think that Tears of the Kingdom, people are excited, people are looking forward to it. I feel that people are going to be blown away with this game, and I expect there to be a lot of I was wrong videos from content creators and from people out there when they finally see more of the game, and also when they finally get the game in their hands. I've been hearing so much stuff with people saying, oh, well, it's just the same map. And it's not. They showed off the whole underground area just a little bit, not too much of it, but that there's going to be a whole underground area. There's a whole sky level as well, or sky levels, I should say, with puzzles and different vehicles you can maneuver there. There's going to be so much more stuff in this game. And based off of that art book leak, which I'm not going to get into more here, but there is so many more aspects of this game that take not just glorified DLC or all this nonsense that people are trying to say, take that and evolve it into a true sequel, like God of War Ragnarok, or like Uncharted 2, or like any game that's got a sequel. But I think that this game in particular, when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom, is really going to fix a number of the issues that we saw with Breath of the Wild, to where it's going to make it a completely different experience and a much better experience. So I can't wait for the game to come out. I can't wait for Nintendo to show off more of the game and really just silence that, because I think that Tears of the Kingdom, obviously, people are excited for it like crazy. I mean, look at the pre-orders here and look at the positioning so far when it comes to Amazon. It's going to do incredibly well. But shifting gears to another game that's done incredibly well, Hogwarts Legacy on the PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. We did get some sales numbers. The game has sold over 12 million units in its first couple weeks. They made almost $1 billion, 850 million in revenue so far with the game. It's been easily one of the biggest games ever released, and it's actually the best-selling game in WB history when it comes to that time period. So obviously they're doing incredibly well with Hogwarts Legacy, but we still have some other versions of the game to come out, which should add to those totals, and that is the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game, and also the Nintendo Switch version of the game. Now, the Nintendo Switch version of the game is coming out on July 25th of this year, and people are kinda worried and also interested on exactly how the Switch version is going to fare or run, considering it's pretty intensive on PS5 and Xbox Series, and the fact that it's coming out multiple months after, nearly 6 months after, February, March, April, May, June, July, 5 months after the PS5 and Xbox Series versions, and then another couple of months or so after the PS4 and Xbox One. That has many leading to believe that the Switch version is going to be terrible or there's major problems with it, but we do have some more information on that. According to Troy Johnson, who is the game designer on Hogwarts Legacy, he had this to say about the Nintendo Switch version of the game. Quote, "Switch version is going to be awesome. We are doing everything to make sure that each version is beautiful, well optimized, and is faithful to the idea we had of the title. And in the end, it will be exactly the title we want." So that is very interesting that he had that to say, because people don't really have much faith in the Switch version of it. Obviously, the specs of the Switch are not up to the PS4, Xbox One, and definitely nowhere near the PS5 and Xbox Series. And the beautiful, lush graphics of the PS5 and Series version of the game are part of the appeal and immersing you into that world. So how are they going to do that on the Nintendo Switch version of the game? How are they going to be able to get that done? Well, I will say this. I'd probably point to some other games that we already have that people felt that was impossible on the Nintendo Switch. So I would say a game like The Witcher 3, for example. That is one of the impossible ports. That's an open world game that was a big title on PS4 and Xbox One that people felt that could not run on the Nintendo Switch, and they were able to get it done. Yes, it's nowhere near as good as the PS5 and Xbox Series versions of the game, but it's still definitely better than what people thought it was going to be. Also, another game that came out recently, and that is Nier Automata, the End of of your edition on the Nintendo Switch. That is a big open world action RPG, and that was also a very good port, very faithful port, and comparable to the PS4 version of the game. So I do think that Hogwarts Legacy, if it's done right, if they have the right team, if they have the right resources and budget, and they make sure that they optimize, they can get great versions of Hogwarts Legacy on the PS4 and also Xbox One, in addition to the Nintendo Switch. And them taking more time and not forcing out a launch on February when they probably didn't even start the Switch version at the same time as the other versions, that is a smart move to make sure that you optimize it. Don't launch it to where it comes out and there's so many issues and it mars the launch of it. Wait till it's ready to go and then launch it. So I think that's what's going on there. Not saying that it's going to be, oh my gosh, the best port ever when it comes down to it and it's going to look just like the other versions, but I do think that it's not going to come out to where it's so terrible to the point to where it's not playable, at least based off of what he's saying here. But what do you guys think about everything when it comes down to this Nintendo Switch and RPG news? And of course, if you want more topics and more discussion, check out my most recent video on the channel where I discuss Nintendo's big second half to 2023 and also more when it comes to a new Castlevania game. So there's a lot to talk about here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next video. Peace.